Well, hello and welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger. Today's date is May 25, 2025. It's been a long, busy weekend, a lot of getting up early, working all day. Part of the reason why uh, it has been so busy for me is that in a lot of the current project, artistic or otherwise, I am the leader. I have quite often been in a leadership role, although I it's not as impressive as it sounds. I have never been like a business tycoon, or I've never led like a troop in battle or anything impressive like that. But suffice to say, in organizations that I worked for, in personal projects, in various endeavors, most of the time. Whether by design or totally purely by accident, I seem to end up in a leadership role. Like I can play an online game and end up being a leader of a group or a kingdom. Uh, or I can end up being an admin of the game. Uh, I can play an online game and then suddenly, uh, without reason or why, I find myself being the head designer for the game. Like these are things that happen all throughout my adult life. That uh, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like natural sucker, a lot of natural sucker for this kind of stuff. Uh, Maybe that has something to do with me naturally being a bit of a control freak and me naturally being like a builder, doer, shaper, teacher, um, that kind of stuff. So today, uh, with what I know of leadership in mind, I'm going to talk to you guys about the four things that's very important to know. The four don'ts. The four things that you do not want to do if your goal is to be a good leader, a successful leader. And some of these things are really, really counterintuitive, right? Um, so before we go into that, let me quickly preface this by saying that these are more strict guidelines if you are leading a company, right? If you are a CEO or if you are a manager or a supervisor. Now, that then you probably want to take to heart all four of these points, okay? Um, they still apply, but much less so, and there's much more flexibility if you're a leader of something else. Like if you're like a leader of a martial art group, then the some of it that you might not find as useful or as true. You might be a leader of a charity, then maybe some of it wouldn't really apply, wouldn't be true. Okay, so don't take it to mean that this works for every single type of leadership. Now, these work mostly true for business, for corporation, managerial kind of situation. Although, in if you find yourself in a leadership role, no matter if it's martial art or artistic or charity or gaming, some of these still apply. Okay, so with that said, let's get going. Now, if remembering all 4 points that we're going to talk about, if you remember 4 points is too complicated, too cumbersome, let me give you guys the briefest summary of today's video. Okay, if you don't have time to watch the rest, just remember this. The point, the key to be a good leader, in addition, this is not instead of, this is in addition to, you need to have good idea, you need to have strong leadership, and blah blah blah. Okay, the key of to being a good leader is to know how to separate your duty from your personal life. Okay, this is what all four of what we're going to talk about today pretty much boil down to. If you want to be a good leader, don't get confused. Don't get your personal life and your personal feeling, your personal opinion confused with your leadership role. That is like one of the biggest taboo. It will mess you up, like seriously. Okay, so keep your personal feeling, personal life separate from your duty, and you already won half the battle. Now, let's look at each four of these items. Number one, don't get involved with your followers personally. Okay, don't solve their personal problem for them. Don't help them out with their personal problem. Okay, this sounds very counterintuitive, right? I know. A lot of us, those of us who think we are good leaders, we get the urge that I want to take care of you. If I'm your leader, it is my job to take care of you. And I want to help you out. So I want to talk to you. I want to take you out for dinner. I want to make sure that you have clothes to wear. I want to make sure that you have transportation. Okay, uh, I'm not saying don't help them out, but if you do want to help them out from an official capacity, not on a personal level, right? For example, if I am the manager, or let's say I'm the CEO of the company, and I notice that one of my underling, Josh, is not doing very good in their personal life. Maybe they are struggling with a lot of debt. Maybe they are uh, struggling with payment for their house. This is the wrong thing to do. Okay, if I say, hey, Josh, that look, you've been with us for a long time, and I really want to help you out. So how about I give you a loan? Pay me back anytime you want. If you can't pay me back now, it's fine. Pay me back later. But here's $10,000 from my own personal bank account. Okay, that's a big no-no. Some people will say, "Oh my God, that's a good leader." No, it's not. Why? Because what are you going to do if tomorrow David's having problem? What are you going to do if the next day Ben's having problem? What are you going to do next week Mary's having problem? Are you going to pick and choose? Are you going to because you are going to help five people, and all it's going to take is you say no to one person, and that's going to create so much bad feeling, bad dynamic in the workplace. It can tear your whole team apart. Okay, you can build up rapport with 10 people. All it's going to take is one person who come to you for help, and you say no, and it's going to create so much backlash for you as a leader that you don't want to deal with stuff like that. Like you really don't. Like, trust me, I have personally run into this kind of problem before. Uh, you think you're doing someone a good term, and then next person come, you think you're doing them a good term, and then finally it got to the point where you're single-handedly shouldering the personal problem of your entire team, and you finally get to the point where you have to say no, and then suddenly they hate you. Suddenly they think, well, then what? Why did you help Mary and you don't help me? Is Mary sleeping with you or what's going on? And it can create so much trash for you. It's not good. Okay. So what would be the right way to go about this? Let's say I am a leader. I'm a CEO, and I notice my underling Josh is having debt problem. I might call him into the office and say, hey. Uh, I noticed that you've been working with us for a long time. So, how about I promote you to this department, which will give you an extra $5 every hour. You've earned it. I'm going to give you that position, and hopefully this will help you out. Okay, or you know that in this company we have free counseling or free transportation or did you know that if you work for this company you're eligible for this special loan with a bank? Okay, I'm going to help you, but I'm going to help you from the capacity that it's accessible to anybody who come to me for that kind of help. Okay, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to help you with what's available in the capacity of my duty as your CEO, not me as Johnny Tiger, your friend. No, I don't want to be your friend. If I'm going to be your leader, I'm going to be your leader. I don't want to be your friend. Right? Now, like I said, this extends to if you want to be a good leader, you don't want to get too personal with your followers. What I mentioned from before up to this point is more useful to if you're running a corporation, but this point also apply for other things. Okay, uh, and again, this is coming from personal experience as a leader of a martial art self-defense group. I very rarely will go hang out with my students. Why is that? Because as a martial arts sensei, as a martial art coach, sometimes you have to be very harsh. Because sometimes you have to say, I say no, don't do that. Okay? Now, if you break my rule, get down and give me 50 push ups right now. You can't do that when you're their friend. Okay? And it's going to make things very awkward. I have run into this problem with my own student before where they thought of me as their friend. So when I suddenly have to put on that sensei hat and speak to them like a sensei, when they did something wrong, I have to reprimand them. It makes them really confused, make them very resentful, and it's just not a very good dynamic. So make things simple, be friendly, but don't get too personal with your followers. If you are a leader, you want to be their leader, you can't you can't say I want to be friend with Josh. I don't like Mary, so I don't want to be friend with Mary. Because then you know what? You're not going to be able to lead very effectively. When one day Josh said, "Hey, Bud, hey, last week when you came to my house, and when we invited you over to have dinner with me and my wife, remember I was talking about uh, not feeling good? Well, dude, I'm like not really feeling good. I'm kind of depressed. So, can I? It's okay, right? If I take the week off and I still get paid, what are you going to do? Okay, as a leader, you're supposed to say, no, dude, you don't come to work, you don't get paid. But as a friend, what are you going to do? You say no, then yeah, that friendship is going to sour. And when that friendship sours, Josh is not going to be a very good worker from here on out because now he thought of you as a friend, and now you treat him like he's not your friend, so he's going to resent you. So if he's resenting you, he's not going to be a very good worker for you or follower for you. So by keeping your distance, keeping everything on a professional level, you will save yourself a lot of drama, a lot of needless backlash and bad feelings. Number two, don't baby your underlings, don't baby your followers. Okay, that does include don't give them lip service, don't comfort them. Okay, if you're a leader, comforting them is not your job. That's usually the job of your human resource. That's usually the job of your second in command. Okay, let other people do that part. You as a leader, your job is to lead and solve problem and inspire. Okay, so why is it a problem if you baby them and comfort them and stroke them and tell them everything will be okay? Because you don't know that. Okay, because you don't know that. And you know what, you are the leader, so when things don't go as you promised, you are the first one that's going to get blamed. So if today Josh said he's really sad and things are not working out, and thinking I'm a good leader, I sit down with him and try to be his human resource and say, hey, dude, it's okay. Everything will work out. Just stick with us, stick with this organization. Everything will be okay. And then next week, the stock market crash and everything's not okay. We are going bankrupt. We have to fire Josh. We have to fire everybody. Guess who's going to get the blame? I am. Because I promised him everything's going to be okay. I told him everything's going to be okay. Okay? This is even true in martial art. Okay, if you're a leader of martial art group, don't baby them and comfort them needlessly unless you really know what you're doing. Okay, your students say, oh sensei, it really hurt. Okay, it really hurt uh my muscle after what we did yesterday, it hurts everywhere. I just had to turn the music down a little bit. So let's say your students come to you and say, "Oh, this really hurts," and you are good, like as a leader, you don't want to say, it's okay, everything will be okay. Just rest up, and then you'll get stronger. You know, you got hurt now, and you'll get stronger tomorrow. That kind of foo kaka inspirational lip service is not good, right? Because you don't know for sure. Maybe they broke something, right? Maybe you tell them it's going to be okay, and then they trust you, and they continue to train despite some serious injury that you don't know about because they didn't tell you or they didn't know how to explain it to you, and then they become disabled, uh, like a year later. Okay, like this kind of thing, you can apply this to almost any situation. If you're a leader, you got to be very careful with what you say. So don't comfort them needlessly. Okay, it's not your job as a leader to comfort them. It's your job to inspire. It's your job to know the fact. It's your job to lead. It's your job to, okay, remember this part. It's your job to solve problems. Let me give you an example. This is a true tale that the founder of Xiaomi Electronic in China, some of you might have even used Xiaomi cell phone, Xiaomi earbud, Xiaomi headset. Okay, they're everywhere. Xiaomi is like a very well-to-do electronic company in China. So the founder of Xiaomi, every time he give a motivational speech, he talk about this one. He said when he first started uh, gathering people and say we're going to start a company. I believe this was 1989, 1990, around that time. He was still in college, and he gathered a bunch of friends and say, okay, we're going to make this really kick-ass electronic device, and we're going to all pool our money and going to do this. Well, they did it. They pooled their money and then lost everything because what they made didn't sell. Okay, so the founder of Xiaomi, he said everyone in his group was sitting around the dormitory. Everyone was really pissed off, really sad. They didn't even have money left for their meal ticket. They didn't have money for food. So rather than telling them everything will be okay, everything is fine, guys, just stick with me. You guys are my best friend. You guys are great. We'll do good things together. He didn't say any of that. He said to his friend, one of his friends, we'll just call him George. So he said to George, he said, "Hey, you're really good at playing cards and mahjong, right? And George said, yeah. So the leader, the founder of Xiaomi, said to George, so I heard that the cook at the cafeteria, they play mahjong every week. So why don't you go and play mahjong with them and see if you can win us some meal tickets to tie us over, and we can try to rebuild our finance and try again. And that's how he got them through that. He didn't pep talk them. He didn't tell them everything will be okay. He solved the problem. He sent George to go play mahjong with the cafeteria cook, and they won enough meal ticket for everybody for the rest of the semester, so they didn't have to pay for lunch or dinner and stuff like that. And they were able to pick themselves back up and look at Xiaomi today, one of the most successful electronic companies in China. So when you are a leader, comfort in words is not your specialty. It shouldn't be your focus. Leave that to someone else who's more suited for that work, for that job. You as a leader, lead and solve problems and help the entire group move forward. Okay. Um, I'll give you another very classic example of how not to lead and how to lead. So some of you know the Chinese war for the Han Dynasty, the war between Liu Bang and Shang Yu. The Lord Liu Bang and Lord Shang Yu went to war, and Liu Bang ultimately won. Even though Shang Yu had better uh, warriors, Shang Yu himself was a better warrior. Shang Yu had more money, more followers, and all that stuff, but Liu Bang won. And in Liu Bang's own word, as the first emperor of the Han Dynasty, Liu Bang said the reason Shang Yu lost is because he was as merciful as a woman. Don't get mad at me. I didn't say this. Okay, Liu Bang, the emperor said that. I'm just quoting him. Okay, so some people say, well, that doesn't sound right because Shang Yu was known to be a merciless warrior. He was like fantastic on the battlefield. He could lift like 1,000 pounds overhead, deadlift like overhead press 1,000 pounds. Okay, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but Shang Yu was a great warrior. So how could he be as merciful as a woman? Well, if you look at most of the historical record, Shang Yu was a great warrior, but whenever he lost a soldier on the battlefield, he would start crying. He would kneel down and sit down beside the corpse of his fallen warrior and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, my brother. I'm so sorry." And then when his soldiers got sick or got injured, Shang Yu would be over there trying to pat them on the shoulder and hold them until they die, and let them die in the company of their Lord. Like he would be all comforting and stuff. But if you if you look at the war, how Shang Yu was ultimately defeated. Shang Yu was ultimately defeated when Liu Bang asked a bunch of musicians to start playing music and sing songs uh, from the region of China that Shang Yu and his troop were from. And when Shang Yu's troop heard these songs and music, they lost all the will to fight because they missed their home, they missed their wives, they missed their relatives, and Shang Yu didn't egg them on. Shang Yu cried with them and feel bad for them and try to comfort them. So uh, the entire troop lost its fighting edge. Okay, now if Shang Yu would have said no, okay, I don't care if these songs are from your homeland, my homeland. If I see one of you shed a tear, if I see one of you stop and listen, I'm going to kill that person. Okay, now go forward and do battle like soldiers. Like that's what you're supposed to do. Maybe he would have won the war, right? But he was so big into being comforting and camaraderie and all that stuff with his soldiers that he allowed them to be bogged down by that kind of sentimental trap. Now, let's look at another important figure in Chinese history, how he solved problem, and you would see that why some people succeed and some people don't. If we look at the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, the kingdom that ultimately won was the kingdom of Wei, led by warlord Cao Cao. I know some people say Cao Cao, but I hate it when white people say that. It's supposed to pronounce Cao Cao. Okay, um, Cao Cao won uh, despite the kingdom of Shu had better warriors and the kingdom of Wu had more money. Cao Cao was able to defeat both of them. Why? Let me give you an example from Cao Cao's childhood, and you would probably see why Cao Cao is able to win because of his being a much better leader. The story is that one time Cao Cao and his best friend um, Yuan Shao, uh, they grew up together. So Cao Cao and Yuan Shao, even though they, in the end, were rivals and became deadly enemies, but when they were growing up, they were best friends. So Cao Cao and Yuan Shao, they used to be teenage hoodlums. They would break into people's houses and vandalize and stuff like that, uh, and piss people off. But because both of them were from really rich family, really influential family, no one dared do anything about it. Well, there was this one time when Cao Cao and Yuan Shao broke into a house, and this house happened to be owned by a bunch of outlaws. Well, obviously the outlaws didn't care how influential your families are, how rich your families are. You break into my house, I am going to kill you. So the outlaws grabbed their swords and axes and chased Cao Cao and Yuan Shao. And Cao Cao and Yuan Shao had they ran and ran. They ran into the mountains, into the forest, and they ran until Yuan Shao was so tired he sat down on the ground. He sat down on the ground, uh, and and he said, "Oh my God, I can't run another step. I need to rest. I need to rest. Okay, give me 2 minutes. Let me rest." Now, some leaders at this point are going to say, "I'll carry you. I'll carry you on my back. Let's go." No, the outlaws are coming. If you carry him, both of you are going to die. Right? Some leader is going to say, "Okay, I'm not going to leave you behind. If you stay, I'm going to stay. I'm going to defend you." Again, both of you are going to die. What did Cao Cao do? Rather than try to comfort his friend or carry him or say, "If you stay, I'm going to stay," Cao Cao yelled at the top of his lung, "We are over here! We're over here! Woohoo! And we're over here!" And like to let the outlaws know they were here. And that scared Ren Shao so much that he forgot about being tired. He jumped up and he said, "You are freaking crazy!" And then both of them ran and they finally were able to get away. So this is a mark of a good leader. Okay, when it's time to solve the problem. Don't try to be merciful or comforting or all that stuff. Okay, it solve the problem first. Number three, if you want to be a good leader, don't accept any favor from your followers or people who work for you. No matter how small, do not accept any favor. This include food, this include good gesture, this include gift, this include invitation to go have dinner or to let them buy you meal. Don't get sucked into any of that. If we look at corrupt politicians and corrupt business people, uh, you will notice that probably 8 out of 10, if you hear their story, they did not set out to be corrupt. 8 out of 10, they did not set out to say, "Oh, I am the minister of uh, transportation, and I am going to be a corrupt politician. Come, bribe me." No, most of them started down this very slippery slope, thinking that, hey, it's just a box of candy, it's fine. Well, what's going to happen is if it's a box of candy today, it will turn into a carton of cigarette next week. And that carton of cigarette will turn into an invitation to come to my house for dinner. And that invitation to come to my house for dinner will turn into, hey, here's some fruit from me and my wife for you and your family. And then those fruit and cigarette and chocolate will soon turn into, hey, it's New Year. Here's some lucky money. Here's lucky money for you. And you are in so deep that you can no longer say no. And this is true even like, and I want to caution, especially those of you who are male. Okay, be very careful. If your female followers, if your female workers suddenly start to try to walk a bit closer to you, or try to smooth out your jacket, or make sure they grab your umbrella when it's raining, put a stop to that right away. Okay, you are going down. You might not know this, but that little kind gesture may one day turn into you getting in bed with them, or at the very least, it can turn into them accusing you of sexually harassing them when you didn't even do it. Okay, but even though you didn't do it, because everyone in the office, everyone in the group have seen how friendly you are with them, have seen how friendly they are with you. So if they say, I slept with Johnny Tiger last night," suddenly everyone's like, "Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Why she's been so nice to him? Yeah, yeah, that totally makes sense." And it's just going to be so messy. You won't be able to dig your way out of that. Okay, so any kind of favor, any kind of goodwill. I don't care if it's well intentioned, well meaning, whatever. If you want to be a good leader, cut that stuff out. Like, stop it right at the root, because it's going to lead you down a slope so steep that once you get halfway down, you will never be able to make your way back out. And it's going to mess up your entire leadership game. I remember when I was going to school in Taiwan, uh, giving teacher gifts was a really big thing. Like, Mid Autumn Day, parents would bring mooncakes to teachers, to the teachers of their kids. New Year, they would bring lucky money, and they would bring dessert and chocolate. And then some parents would remember the teacher's birthday and give them a card or some little bit of cash on their birthday. And a lot of these were pretty harmless. Like, a lot of people thought it was very harmless, but in most of these teachers' mind, it made a difference, because if if George's mom give you $1,000 for your birthday every year, okay, let's say you're a teacher, your monthly salary is only $500, but every birthday George's mom give you $1,000. You may think you are going to be fair, you are going to be a fair person, but I will guarantee you that you will treat George just a bit better than other students. When George make a mistake or cause trouble, you will be just that little bit more lenient. When George is late for class, you will pretend that it didn't happen. Okay? You will not jeopardize your $1,000 every year by being mean to George. I remember that because my family was very rich, so my family was always very good at buttering up my teachers. And there's one teacher, the for he was the civic teacher. He was a teacher from the civic class, And I still remember him from this day, even though I hated his class. But I remember him. Why? Because he was the only teacher I had that said, "Hey, Johnny, tell your mom, don't give me anything. I don't like that stuff. I will treat you just like any other children. I do not take anything from my students' parents. So tell your mom to come and take all this stuff back. I don't want them." And at that, even back then, I thought, wow, that is a good teacher right there. That is a really good person right there. Okay, so if you want to be a good leader, you want to learn to say no, even though it may seem like a harmless gesture now, but it always have the potential to grow into something a lot worse. Number four, when you want to be a good leader, don't be stingy with reward. Okay, if you want to be a good leader, you need good followers. Okay? If you want to be a good leader in war, you need good warriors that follow you into battle, right? If you want to be a good boss, if you want to be the head of a good corporation, you need good, strong, talented people working for you. Uh, People that really know how to get you ahead in that industry. So if you want good talent, you need to award them, reward them, compliment them accordingly, right? Because if you don't, someone will. And that's when you will find yourself cast aside. Loyalty be damned, okay? Don't try to count on the loyalty of people. If you are a good leader, you need to learn to reward people accordingly so they know that being loyal to you is the right thing to do. I have, in my lifetime, I have worked for so many people. I have seen so many of my friends work for bosses that are so stingy that eventually they lose the most talented people working for them because they are stingy. And these people eventually get taken in by someone else who sees their value. Okay? Don't let that happen to you. If you're a leader and someone's doing a good job, tell them, show them, okay, give them the proper reward, uh, and you will find that it's so much easier to have good talent around you. Uh, I'm going to give you two examples again from the period of the three kingdoms in Chinese history. The first example, the funny thing is both of these examples are actually related. Okay, so the first example is when Lü Bu killed his godfather Ding Yuan and went to serve under the banner of Dong Zhuo. Right? This is some of you that know your Three Kingdoms history know this story kind of. But for those of you who don't know, I'm just going to give you a very brief, because it is not Wisdom Wednesday. I'm going to give you a brief version of the event. So during the Three Kingdom time, there was a warrior called Lü Bu. Lü Bu was, to put it quite bluntly, the best, the the god. Basically, he was a war god. Like the entire Three Kingdom period, Lü Bu have not been defeated in single combat like ever. Uh, he was the kind of guy that you like. There was one time when he was leaving Yuan Shao. He tried to work for Yuan Shao, Cao Cao's best friend. And Yuan Shao wanted to kill Lü Bu because Lü Bu's leaving. So Yuan Shao sent like 50 of his assassins, 50 of them, chasing after Lü Bu. And when they finally caught up to Lü Bu, they found that he was on his horse with his spear in his hand, just smiling, waiting for them. And the 50 against one, the assassins basically say, "Oh, yeah, we're just here to make sure that you didn't forget anything and wish you a nice trip. Bye." and they turned around and went home. They didn't want to fight him. Okay, that's how scary Lu Bu was as a warrior. Okay, so Lu Bu started out serving under a guy named Ding Yuan, one of the lords called Ding Yuan, and Ding Yuan became Lu Bu's godfather, and and basically made Lu Bu his personal secretary. But then uh, there's another warlord called Dong Zhuo. Dong Zhuo really wanted Lu Bu on his side because he knew that there's no better warrior than Lu Bu. So Dong Zhuo sent a messenger by the name of Li Su. Remember this name, Li Su, because he's going to come up again later. Dong Zhuo sent Li Su to go talk to Lu Bu. Yeah, no, they both names sound very similar, and they are actually kind of related. They're actually distantly related. Uh, so Li Shu went to talk to Lu Bu and basically told him, "Hey, this is what Dong Zhuo, what Lord Dong Zhuo can offer you. Look at this horse. Look at these gold and silver. Look at this armor that my Lord Dong Zhuo is going to give you. And if you follow my lord Dong Zhuo, you will be his number one general. You will lead his army to conquer everybody. What do you have? Staying with your godfather Ding Yuan. Ding, Ding Yuan is your godfather, but does he know your worth? Does he know that you are the best warrior around? No. What are you? You're his personal secretary. You stand around delivering message for him every day. You stand around you stand around serving him, bring him tea. You're basically just a godson. You're nothing. And Lu Bu went back home and started thinking, and he said, yeah, Li Shu is right. What am I? I'm just a freaking godson. I'm a personal secretary. I don't get to fight. I don't get any glory. And the guy doesn't even pay me because he's my godfather. He said he doesn't think he has to pay me. So that very night, Lu Bu went to his godfather Ding Yuan, chopped off his head, and brought his head to Dong Zhuo and say, "There, I brought you the head of my godfather Ding Yuan. Now let me serve under you. You will be my new godfather." And for quite a period of time, Lu Bu and Dong Zhuo were invincible. Okay, they were like unstoppable. And Lu Bu being the best warrior around, and Dong Zhuo being the warlord that commanded over 200,000 troop, 200,000 soldiers, and had a lot of influences. The two of them worked so great together. So that first example, what does it show us? It shows us, yeah, okay, you know what Lu Bu did, murdering his godfather, was awful. Okay, there's no getting around that. It was a naughty thing he did. But if we really want to be fair about it, Ding Yuan kind of brought that on himself as well. What the hell, dude? You have the best warrior of the entire Three Kingdom in under your command, and you don't give him a chance to fight. You don't give him a chance to be a general. You don't let him lead your army. You just make him your personal message boy. You just like have him stand around your study every day, and bring you tea, make you coffee. Like, come on, what the hell? Like, yeah, when you really think of it that way, Ding Yuan kind of deserved what he got. Now, the second example, like I said, is related. Okay, we are going to look at how Dong Zhuo, the warlord Dong Zhuo, died in the end. Some people say, oh yeah, Dong Zhuo got killed by Lu Bu, so Lu Bu killed his new godfather as well. Yes, you are right. But that is not the whole story. When Lu Bu and some of the other uh, generals were plotting to kill Dong Zhuo, Dong Zhuo was in one of his personal palaces, surrounded by hundreds of thousands of soldiers. So to kill Dong Zhuo, they had to lure him out of there. They had to get him to come to the imperial city and ambush him while he's there. Who did they send to go get Dong Zhuo to come out? Li Shu. Yeah, the same guy that talked Lu Bu into jumping ship. That in our first example, Li Shu, he's back again. Like I said, this is why I want you guys to remember this name because he appears again in our second example. Li Shu was the guy who they sent to Dong Zhuo and to trick him, to lie to him, to lure him out of his palace, so he wouldn't be protected by his soldiers. So why did Li Shu do that? Didn't he work for Dong Zhuo, right? Didn't he work for Dong Zhuo? Because in our first example, he helped Dong Zhuo acquire the service of Lu Bu. It was Li Shu that went to Lu Bu and convinced him to jump ship. So why is Li Shu turning around and helping other people kill Dong Zhuo in the end? When Dong Zhuo was ambushed and the person who finally cut off his head uh, was no other than Li Shu. Okay, this messenger, this guy who helped him acquire Lu Bu for his service. And after Li Shu cut off Dong Zhuo's head, Li Shu said, "You have no idea how much I hate you for not rewarding me." And it all boiled down to me. Okay, let's say I am Li Shu, the messenger. Okay, I just got you the best freaking warrior in the entire Three Kingdom. I just managed to get you Lu Bu. Okay, because you Dong Zhuo, my lord Dong Zhuo, you've been telling me that you want Lu Bu to help you. So I went and talked to Lu Bu. I talked him into coming to your side. But after that, you didn't give me anything. You didn't promote me. You promoted Lu Bu. You made Lu Bu your first general. You gave Lu Bu gold. You gave Lu Bu silver. You gave Lu Bu great horses and great weapons and great armor. What the hell did I get? You didn't give me anything. So I brought you the best warrior, and I got jack shit out of this. So no wonder in the end I want to kill you, because you forgot that without me you wouldn't have gotten Lu Bu. You did not reward me accordingly. Okay, so not giving Lu Bu the the position, the glory he deserved, got his godfather Ding Yuan killed in the first example. Not rewarding Li Shu uh, for bringing Lu Bu to Dong Zhuo's side, got Dong Zhuo killed in our second example. What do we learn from this? Well, if you don't reward your underlings, if you don't reward your followers accordingly to what they do for you, then I'm sorry. If they stab you in the back, you kind of ask for it. So we can do a quick recap. The four things you don't want to do as a good leader is: number one, don't get too personal. Keep everything professional, and don't get personally involved with your underlings or your followers. Number two, don't try to be human resource. Don't comfort them. Don't uh, try to pay them lip service. Okay, your job is to solve problem and lead the group. If you need someone to do human resource, get someone else to do that. You are not the right person for it. Number three, number three, don't take any favors from your followers. Nip that in the bud when you come up. Don't take any money, don't take any food, don't take any favors because that's a very slippery slope that will lead to corruption and really bad feelings. Number four, don't be stingy with your reward. If you want great things done for you, if you want great people working for you, then you need to reward them accordingly. Thank you so much for checking out today's episode, and I hope I'll see you guys again tomorrow on Music Monday. For now, have a good night.